I got this question here from Isabella, who's a political science major facing struggles with logic games and balancing her college prep with LSAT prep. She writes, my LSAT's in April 2024, and I'm targeting a high score. I've been studying for 7 months, yet logic games remain my weakest area. Also, balancing LSAT prepping with coursework is overwhelming. How can I improve in logic games and find a better study-life balance? So first off, Isabella, it's great that you're studying for the April LSAT and you've been studying for 7 months already. That's awesome. I find the students who do the best on the LSAT are the ones who put in the time. Now, the fact that you've been studying for so long, yet logic games remains your weakest area, is somewhat disconcerting to me, in part because logic games should be the most learnable and even perfectible section. So I'm wondering, what resources have you been using over the past 7 months that leaves logic games remaining your weakest area? Have you taken an LSAT prep course? Have you gotten any one-on-one coaching? Or have you been using only books and free online resources? Now, it could be that you just haven't found the right resource and you may want to try something different. If you haven't yet taken a prep course, you may want to take one at LSAT Unplugged. For those who are struggling with logic games, there are a wide variety of ways we could support you. We have live online classes via Zoom, on-demand video courses, small group coaching, and we also offer one-on-one coaching as well. So I'm going to invite you to pursue those options. You can check out the links below this video to find out more and to book a call with me and my team. We'd be glad to help you out. Now, it may be that logic games just are not your bag and you don't want to deal with them, in which case that's totally fine, simply because the LSAT is changing after June 2024. Starting with the August LSAT, they are removing the logic game section and replacing it with a second scored logical reasoning section. What this means is that if you don't like logic games and you just can't learn them, that's totally fine. You don't need to deal with them. You can take the LSAT in August instead and disregard logic games entirely and then focus all that extra time on logical reasoning instead. Logical reasoning will be 2 sections of the LSAT rather than 1, so any gains you make in logical reasoning will be automatically doubled since there are going to be 2 sections of that instead. And you can still apply to law school the same cycle anyway. You can apply, in fact, if you're taking the LSAT in August, you can still apply at the beginning of the cycle, and that's totally fine. Also, law schools do not care whether you take the LSAT with the game section or without the game section. So if you're struggling with games and they're the section that you just cannot crack, that is totally fine. You don't need to deal with them. Now, you mentioned balancing LSAT prep with coursework is overwhelming. I hear that. If you got a full course load in college, I majored in political science as well. I know writing all those papers can be pretty exhausting and time consuming. And so balancing LSAT prep with the college schedule is not easy. Again, I'm going to invite you not to do it. You don't have to. If you go for August, in addition to not dealing with logic games, you also will have the entire summer to study. And hopefully your summer is pretty free. Hopefully you're not taking classes over the summer. If you have the leisure or the freedom to study for the LSAT full-time over the summer, that's going to be a major benefit to you in helping you to achieve that highest LSAT score possible. Now, you wrote that you're targeting a high score. I always recommend getting more clear and specific with our goals to make them more achievable. So rather than saying, I want a high score, what does a high score mean to you? For some folks, a high score is anything above 150, since the median LSAT score is a 151. For some folks, a high score is high relative to the law schools they want to apply to. So maybe if you are applying to a school with an LSAT median of 165, you want to get an LSAT score of 166 or above in order to maximize your odds of getting in and maximize your odds of getting significant scholarship money. Now, if you are set on taking it in April, I totally hear you. I'd recommend giving a significant focus to studying logic games. As I said, they are the most learnable section. I have plenty of free resources, even just on YouTube alone, LSAT logic games explanation walkthroughs, but you can also get live online classes to get support in walking through the logic games. You could get one-on-one support where someone can actually look at how you're approaching the logic games and then recommend some alternate approaches, seeing where you're facing any gaps or errors in your understanding regarding certain logic games types. Of course, there are ordering games, grouping games, combinations of different types, and then the rare and curveball games. But I'd recommend divide and conquer, focus on one type of logic game at a time, say ordering, for example, master that type, then move on to the next type. Anyway, Isabella and everyone out there, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please do me a favor and share it with someone who needs to see it. I don't do any advertising for this channel. I rely only on word of mouth to help get the word out. And your sharing this video really does make a difference. Maybe you know someone else aiming for the April LSAT. Maybe you know someone struggling with logic games, and your sharing this video with them could help them navigate these decisions and decide when to take the LSAT, and of course, help them to improve their logic game score. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.